It has been a week fraught with great change, not only on a national scale, but also on an individual level for me. We'll start with the national scale. There has been a general election in this country, and several things have happened overnight, if you like. You know, running up to this election, people were not sure what was going to happen, and the view was that it would end with a coalition forming. What generally happens in the UK elections is that everybody who is registered to vote, and that is everybody who is over a certain age, although they do have to register, is allowed to vote on one day of this year, and they vote for a local person who is running to take a seat in Parliament. Although this person also has a seat by default, therefore, on the local government, the council, this is really about who is going to represent the area in Parliament. And it's very simple. Parties may put forward candidates, and the person who wins the popularity vote gets the seat. There is no particular prize for second place, and each individual council, if you like, is a completely different election, and then based on that there will be one winner from each council, and that one winner will have a seat in Parliament. In order for a government to run on its own, as in one single party, they not only have to get a majority of votes, they also need to have more people than all the other parties combined. If they don't, then they're in trouble, because whatever they propose can be voted out by those that are not in government, because there is more of them. It's simple statistics. So the winner, if they have enough, can run on their own, and if they do not have enough, they must join with some smaller party in order to get the number of seats that they need to outweigh everybody else. There are 650 odd seats. Now, don't forget that each council in the Union is represented, and so some of those seats are Scottish seats and Welsh seats, and these are Scottish seats in the British government. They are not Scottish seats in the provincial government of Scotland. So in the provincial, if you take Scotland for example, it has two ministers of Parliament, if you like. A Minister of Parliament for their provincial government, and a Minister of Parliament for the Westminster Union government, if you like. Now, we'll do Scotland first, because the idea of Scotland was that in the provincial government, the Scottish Nationalist Party have done very well. They managed to force through a referendum on whether to leave the Union. Now, they wanted to leave the Union, and it failed. The referendum was that they should stay. However, their popularity has increased, because when it came to looking at the seats, not for the provincial government, but for the Union government, they cleared their area. In Scotland there were so many seats, and the Scottish Nationalists got all but 2 of them. This meant that they were extremely large. They ended up being the 3rd largest party in the Union government, if you like, the British government. And that was so that if Labour managed to get the majority, but not quite enough to actually rule on their own, they could form a coalition. That way, effectively, a Scottish party would have a hell of a lot of influence on the Union, not just their own country, and that was their idea. Unfortunately for them, Labour did worse than the year of the election before, and their party leader has resigned, although he kept his seat, so there will be a new opposition leader from that party shortly. The Liberal Democrats, which are the centrist party, the Labour supposedly right, the Conservatives, the Labour supposedly left, the Conservatives supposedly right, and the Liberal Democrats are supposedly centrists. And they were in government as a coalition for the last 5 years, took the blame, I'm afraid, the fall for everything, and they were pretty much wiped out on the national level. Although their party leader, Nick Clegg, kept his seat, he has also resigned as sort of head of his party. The UKIP party did well on a local level. Okay, so they got loads of their people into different councils. What they failed to do was do very well in the national. So they actually had 2 seats before and they lost 1. And the 3rd seat that they were hoping for was their party leader, Nigel, who failed to get elected, and so he has also resigned as party leader. And so that obviously means that the Conservatives not only got the majority, but they actually got enough so that they can rule independently as their independent party, which I think is probably the best solution, because we are halfway through what they are trying to do. They have, in terms of rebalancing the books and the economy, and also they have promised to give us a referendum during this Parliament on whether we should remain in Europe or pull out. They are elected to lead for 5 years. So there we are. That happened this week. I cast my vote for them in the nationals. I went for UKIP in the locals, but I don't know whether he won or not. Not too bothered about the local, to be totally honest, because the local only really represents an estate on the council. It doesn't, you know, it's not like they have a national sort of say. It's very, very local. Anyway, my life has also changed. My commitments at work have changed in terms of the times, the shifts that I work. And that means that I am doing different hours, which means that things are sort of shifting around a little bit. I have shifted up the finances as well. We are now in a state where we can afford to reinvest in the savings at the rate they were at before, £50 a month, which is fine. The delay to that means that we are now not looking to get personal transport until the start of 2016, unless I, suddenly manage to fall into a lot of money, whether that's a windfall or, whatever. What else? I have bought back the Golden Bowl as well, which is good. So £30 a month is sort of able to be spent on things like the house or clothes. The Golden Bowl plus the savings for December are all that we are going to have for Christmas, so that's been reined in slightly. And £10 of every Golden Bowl, if there is a family birthday, is going on that as a minimum, and then we can sort of add more if we happen to have spare cash. We're still doing stuff with our weight loss. We're still doing walking. And I think that's roughly about all the changes there are, except to say that obviously the Over a Cuppa broadcast is moving from the weekend to midweek because of that. And that is at least more sensible in terms of being able to be after I do the weigh-in, so we're not a week behind in terms of the weight, which was the primary reason for doing the broadcast in the first place. I think that's all I have to say for this week. Obviously, lots and lots and lots of change, so it's going to take some getting used to. Yeah, that is the way that things stand from this point on. So now, in closing, let us do the birthdays. Not many birthdays this week. We have Uriah Faber, who happens also to be fighting at the end of this week, so it could be an excellent week for his birthday, or a particularly bad one. Darren Elkins, Joseph Sandoval, John Harris, and Tom de Blas is having his birthday as well. So, many happy returns to all of those. Do not forget to eat lots of cake, no matter what you're training for. And until next week, that is the end.